A frequency table shows the number of values within a set of categories. So a frequency table is how often something happens. And when we group them into class intervals, so we're saying how many times do we get between, how many hot dogs have we sold in an hour? How many times is it 0 hot dogs, 1, 2, 3, up to 9? How many times is it between 10 and up to 20, but not including 20? So we can actually group these together. So the height of the column is the frequency. That's how many times it's happened. And then the data is on the x-axis. And we write this as a histogram, which is a kind of column graph. But usually a histogram, you can see in the example, is that there's no space between them because we're talking about sets of data. It's within a class interval that we decide or we're told. So there's no gaps between the columns. And if you don't start at 0, that's the only time you would leave a little bit of a gap there just to show that it's not 0. Scales are evenly spread. No matter what you decide on this frequency, it's by up to 8. This one, the frequency over here, is in eighths, but it's still even. So you can find the percentage frequency of a histogram that just gives you that percentages of the total number. So like a stem and leaf plot, a histogram can show data skewed positively or negatively to the left or to the right. And just a note about that, if something is skewed positively, the skewing is noting the imbalance. So the tail goes up into the higher numbers, so we'd have it positively skewed. Each of these is a little bit more negatively skewed. But at any rate, the class interval here is we go by fives. So from 60 up to, but not including 65, that happened 3 times. So on this chart, we reach up to 3. And here are our class intervals down the bottom, and the frequency is on the side. And we got the percentage of that because the total number, when we work everything out, is 25. So 3 out of 25 is going to give us 12 out of 100. So that's the equivalent fraction out of 100, or we can just divide them and we can see what that looks like as a decimal. 70 up includes numbers from 70 to, not including less than 75. So again, that's why they match up and they're next to each other. So here we have, the data below shows the number of hamburgers sold each hour by a 24-hour fast food store. Ugh, I don't want to work there. During a 50-hour period. So there's our total. So we've got 50 hours in toto. So we're going to set up and complete our grouped frequency table using the data here. And the class intervals are given to us in the question. 5. So 0 to not 5. 5 to not 10. It's not really essentially 5 to, you can't have half a hamburger. Well, it depends on who your friends are. And then 15 up, and then 20 up. 20 to 25. So that's our n. That'll be the biggest number that we have. And down here will be the total. And I'm hoping that I get that total of 50 because I'm told that there are 50 data points here, one for each hour, how many were sold each hour. So now all I'm going to do, I'll show you the first one, is I'm going to find out how many times I have a number that's between 0 and 4. So I have a 1, I have a 3, and I have a 4. And I have found out that I have 3 out of this whole data set of 50 is in that frequency of occurring from 0 to 4 times. Now I'll quickly go and find the rest of them. Okay, I have painstakingly worked out just how many data there are, and if I add up 3 and 7, 15, 19, and 6, that gives me 50. So to find out the percentage from that, it's actually really straightforward for this one. So I could divide 3 by 50 and get the decimal and times by 100, or I can just double each of these numbers, because 3 out of 50 is going to be equivalent to 6 out of 100, 14 out of 100, 30%, that's what percent means, remember, out of 100, 38%, and 12%. And of course, adding them all up, they should also equal 100. Bit sloppy, sorry about that. Now with this data, we're going to construct ourselves a histogram. So on the bottom, we're going to have the hamburger sales. And we're going to put them in as their class intervals. We could have sold no hamburgers. We could have sold 5 or 10, 15, 20, up to 25. So that's the end. And always at this point, we're going to write our frequency, how often that happened, how many of those we had on this side. And we go up to a total of 19. So let's make it go up by threes. So we'll have 3, try and make it even, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, what was that, 21. Okay, so that was pretty good. So remembering a histogram, in this case we do have 0, so we won't leave any gaps. So the histogram is going to show us that the first one, our first number, was 3. So from 0 up and 2, but not including 5, is 3. And we'll color that in, and you should be using a ruler. The next one is 7. So we're just going to make that go up a little bit of the way past 6. Because remember, these are visual representations that give us a good idea. The tables give us the exact numbers. The data gives us the exact numbers, but the table starts to group it for us, and this gives us a visual of that. The next one from 10 to 15 was 15. So we're going way up. We had a big jump there. And our hamburger sales between 15 and 20 hamburgers. That happened how many times? 19 times. So that's our biggest number. Really, a ruler is your best friend here. And then the final one is, so for this one, for 6 of these hours, we sold between 20 and 25 hamburgers. In how many hours did the fast food store sell fewer than 10? So for how many hours did we sell fewer than 10? Remembering this is the frequency of that happening in an hour's time. So we have 3 hours plus this one was 7 hours. So in that 10 hours, we sold fewer than 10 because the most we sold here was 9, up to and not including 10. And for how many did we sell at least 15? Remember, at least includes 15. So that will be the 19 times here. This one's 19 plus at least 15. Yeah, so more than 15 plus the other 6 that we sold. So that equals 25 hours. So this was 10 hours and this was 25